What's that?
So,
Hello, everyone.
And folks, it is 7 o'clock. I will go ahead and call our meeting to order. If we can start with a moment of silence, please. And if we can stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you happen to have a cell phone with you, please make sure it's off or on silent. City Clerk, may go take roll call for us, please.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Green. Here. Stewart.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
French.
Here.
And there's Henry.
Here. Do I have a motion to approve of the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have support? Support.
I would like to add an item to the agenda, please.
What that item?
A brief presentation on Alzheimer's. There's going to be a meeting on the 30th. Have someone here to discuss how those. It's in here.
But it's not on the agenda.
That was not on the agenda.
Who made the motion? There, I know. You made the motion.
I did.
Okay. So.
I'll second.
We need to roll on this.
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that would be item E. Item E. What was that? Oh, what is this, title again?
Alzheimer's presentation. It's Mindful Neighbors, Albion Community Forum.
And a motion, for the motion and support has been amended to vote on the amended agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Very good. So we will start this evening with a presentation from Eric Tobin, our income tax administrator.
Hello, thank you for having me out tonight. I know I'm not the funnest person to hear from in the city, but you know, as well as from the resident side of things. In your packet, you had a little flyer that gave you some information. David had me add to it the last page, which has kind of the financial information about the income tax department over the last 5 years from 2021 to through last year. So that gives you our revenue picture and stuff like that, and I'll talk kind of briefly about that. So I'll only spend a few minutes. I know that you've got a busy agenda tonight, so I'll only spend a few minutes on things, and more importantly, it's gonna be to introduce the portal to you, kind of give you an idea of what that is and how to access it. So we're gonna be going through that. So just a very brief thing, many people don't know that there are 24 cities in Michigan that have an income tax, and obviously Albion is one of them. That income tax amounts for the city about a third of the city's revenue, almost a third of the city's revenue, as you can see by the income projections that David had put together for you. Those kinds of things help us maintain parks, it helps us maintain the cemetery, it helps us provide public safety, as well as to provide grant funding when you guys need a match, and you need to come up with some money, or when Jason has another presentation about more money. You know, like, he doesn't have one tonight, does he? No. Anyway, it helps with all those kinds of things, as well as to pay for all the administrative and financial things that the city does. So when people ask me, a lot of times I get the number one question I get is, we didn't know that there was an income tax. So part of my job has been to try to find more ways to get the message out there that the city does have an income tax. So I put it on the back of water bills, and David's always on me to save money, so I've got to try to do things that are semi-free. So we put it in the newsletter, we put it in the e-news, we put it in the recorder. We've done various types of, I've even attended like one of the chamber meetings. Things like that to try to get people to know about the income tax. Lately, we've been having more Facebook posts and things like that. Cassidy from the Community Foundation has put together, she actually put together this graphic right here, so I can't take any credit for that. I gave her the information, but she put together that and I thought it was a great graphic, so I decided to use it for, so I got permission from her though. So one of the things that people ask is, well, you know, I don't have to file a federal income tax return. Do I have to still file an Albion tax return? And the answer is anyone that has income over $600, whether they work here or live here, needs to file an income tax return. So that's even if they have, some people ask, I have a rental property there. Well, that's income inside the city. So that qualifies as needing to file an income. So that's important. The second thing I get asked a lot is, what does the money go for? And the first thing that they bring up is road construction and things like that. So I talked to them about that. We're working on that. That's one of the reasons why we're trying to get income tax taken care of. So one of the other things I'd like to mention is that we'd like to make sure that when people get letters from us, the biggest thing to do is to have them respond to us, whether it's a phone call, an email. We now have two of us downstairs. There's myself and Penny. We're available 7 to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Of course, we're off on Fridays with the 4 times, but we're there. And so the biggest thing that we need to do is to try to encourage people to get in contact with us, because when they get their first letter or their second letter, the biggest thing to do is to find ways to work with us if there's a problem, especially if it's a financial one. Eric, I see that you sent me $1,000 bill. I can't afford to pay it. What can I do now? So we can work things out with them. We can set up payment plans. We can do all kinds of stuff. But the last thing that we want to do is have to send it over to Cullen, and then my hands are tied more or less on being able to do some of those things. So get to us early, get to us as soon as you can. If you get a letter, if it's asking for more information, yes, we do need that stuff. So if it's asking for a copy of your federal tax return or a copy of another city tax return or financials, if you own a business and things like that, all of those things, we do need them. It's not just Eric wanting to know something or something. So, all right. So without further ado, because I know we got a short period of time, did you want to go ahead and, so on the cover of this page right here, it does show a picture of the city's website. When you type in www.cityofalbionmi.gov, this is what the homepage looks like. So if you go to the homepage, down here in the bottom right corner is a tab that says New Income Tax Portal. So this is a way for people to access and get information from the city income tax without having to call in. So if you're at 2 a.m. in the morning and you want to have access to the city's income tax information, you can do it. If you want to file your tax return yourself without having to go through a tax preparer, you can do it on the website. You got a letter from us saying, Eric, or saying I need to get more information, or I need a missing tax return, or I forgot to attach a W-2. You can now upload them using this. So the simple log on, it'll take you right into there, and on here again, it's going to help you. The first thing at the top there, it tells you your current status of the tax year. So it's right now only available for you to file taxes for the 2025 tax year. So we're in 2026, it's going to be the current year. I am working on with our software provider to allow us to be able to file back taxes through here as well. You can make a payment on here. So you can see that the next tab over, the first tab is file the tax return. The next tab there is you can make a payment. So let's say you didn't want to pay the 3% fee for using a debit or credit card. Through this portal, you have the option to set up an automated withdrawal out of a checking or savings account. That costs nothing. So we have that as an option. You can change your name and address on here. And then the last one there is upload a file. That's like I said, if you get a letter from us saying, hey, I'm missing your first page of your federal tax return, you can simply upload it there, right on. So as you can see, I put in here, we got Mr. Fred Flintstone, he's got, this is his account. We put in some dummy stuff, so it's not a real personal stuff. He's got 2 years of taxes that he has a balance due on, and those are the balances, and it lists out their penalty, and interest breakdown, and it gives them also if they made any types of payments on. So they can see kind of all that information that we would see if someone needs to call up and ask us, what's my balance? They can go on and look at it right away. They don't have to wait for us to get back to them or anything like that. So this gives them that opportunity to do that. And again, they can e-file. We were the first to get this in the state of Michigan, so we beta tested it basically for the last year. And other cities are gonna get it. The city of Springfield just rolled theirs out, and Grand Rapids and Battle Creek are next, so. But anyways, I'll be happy to take any questions if you got them. Again, I just wanted to be real brief for you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. So for those of us who have to pay quarterly in 2026, can we pay on this portal?
Yes, you can, yeah,
So
if you were,
go to the thing and just say make payment?
yeah, so Jill, if you wanna click on the make payment. So you can see here, it lists those 2 years that he had a balance on, and then it gives the 4 quarterly payments are right there for you. Yep.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Again, I wanted to be really brief. We also have a portal for corporations for withholding, so for tax withholding. There's a similar portal that they can use that's on the city's website. It's under the Finance and Treasury tab. And then you go to the income tax page and it's right on there. So we can also do that on that page as well. So any other questions? All right,
Thank you, Eric.
thank you.
Here. I'm sorry, Eric,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Rhodes.
Mr. Williams needs one vote.
Oh, sure. One of the flyers?
Yes.
You're welcome. Sorry about that. I thought I got one forward.
Right, next is our proclamation for Alcohol Awareness Month. And do we have representatives for our Substance Abuse Council?
Yes,
You,
we
yeah.
do. We have our representatives as well as students. And the director.
Right, as we have our representatives coming up, I will go ahead and read our proclamation for Alcohol Awareness Month, April of 2026. Whereas adolescence is a critical and often vulnerable stage of human development. And it is during this time that many young people experiment with substances such as alcohol. And whereas compared to those who wait until they are 21 years of age to drink, young people who start drinking before the age of 15 are at a higher risk for developing alcohol use disorder later in life and are more likely to be in a motor vehicle crash due to alcohol use. And whereas youth who drink alcohol are more likely to experience problems in school and their social life. Legal problems, physical and sexual violence, higher risk for suicide and homicide, misuse of other substances, and have changes in brain development that may have lifelong effects. And whereas the solution to underage drinking comes through widespread collaboration and engagement of multiple organizations and communities with all adults doing their part. And whereas alcohol abuse is linked to as many as 2/3 of all sexual assaults and date rapes of teens and college students, and is a major factor in unprotected sex among youth, increasing the risk of contracting HIV or other transmitted disease. And whereas the Substance Abuse Council asks residents to refuse to provide alcoholic beverages to underage youth. Now therefore, I, Victoria Garcia Snyder, along with the City of Albion City Council, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Alcohol Awareness and Underage Drinking Prevention Month in Albion. I will go ahead and start. So does anybody want to say any words about programming that we've done around this
I will,
topic?
and then I'll let one of the children say, I really appreciate these kids. Mario and Didi they graduates of Marshall Opportunity School. And they have been involved in the music program at the studio and have been doing very well, staying out of trouble. As you know, DeAndre has some struggles in school, but through his music, he's been doing performing in big venues, and I think he's finally got it together, working with Mario and other students, so. I just want to applaud the effort. They took out their day to come do this, and they was doing some other stuff, so they're doing great, and I appreciate it.
Hand it off to our students and also shake their hands. Now, who wants to receive this? This young lady right here, there you go, ma'am.
I want to get a picture of that too. So,
We have our now in the corner right here. Still want to get around there.
You wanna get in the picture?
come on, come on.
Ramon.
A rose among thorns.
Maurice,
Yes.
the substitute coalition not count, like, that's obviously.
Yeah. I think you said Townstone, prevention services.
Okay, wonderful.
All right,
Well, thank you all for taking time out of your busy days to be here for this.
and we appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, next is a presentation from PCG and Bob Woods.
Good evening, council. I wanted to introduce Carrie G from G Farms and also Bob Wright from G Farms. They are one of the largest tree nursery in the state of Michigan. And we actually got hooked up with them through the college. Misty Brooks reached out to me along with Bob. We started talking about taking down some of the trees in the parks and along Erie Street. And so I met with them both, and then Bob came out and helped with Councilwoman Davis's tree planting this past Saturday for Arbor Day, replanting more trees back into Victory Park, see the old ones that were down. But we went and met with them at their facilities, which is phenomenal, and it's I wanted them to come and talk about some of the things that we're gonna start doing to partnering with them, start replanting trees back in the right of ways. So many trees to take down, they're old. But what we want to do is start replanting as we go. So with that, turn it over to them.
Good evening. Just real quick, I want to give a little background. I am the 6th of 8 generations on our family farm. We're just north of Jackson. We are the largest retail nursery growers of retail nursery stock this side of the Mississippi. We are on 800 acres. So most of the trees that we supply are grown by me, my father, my son, my niece, nephew. And the one thing about our business is we live and breathe these plants. They're our babies from the time they're little seedlings on up. So we know them, we understand them, we know what they want, what they don't want, we know how to plant them, and we know everything about them. So we are landscapers, but we are first and foremost nursery people, and we care about the trees, what they can do for our environment and for our air quality. I was talking to Jason, he came in to talk to us, and I was telling him that one of the things about replanting trees in the cities, we do partner with a few cities up in the Lansing area, is we make sure that we use the right trees for the right situations. We make sure that the trees, where we're putting them, they're gonna survive. A lot of the older trees here have been around for a lot of years. Most people don't realize that trees have a lifetime. And especially when we come through and we put them by roadways, sometimes these big oaks that should be around for hundreds of years, their roots get under the roads, they get driven on, they get diseases, they get trimmed at the wrong time, which causes failure. So I know it's really, really hard to lose an old friend, but sometimes our old friend, these big old trees can be a detriment to a danger and a detriment. So I wanted to talk about that and let you know a little bit about us. The other thing I wanted to talk about that I spoke with Jason about is we have a sister company that we work with, myself specifically. And it's called Retree. And what Retree is we are an actual digital marketplace that we repurpose trees that are otherwise going to be destroyed. We started this program with a friend of mine, in the Pontiac, Detroit area. And, in the last 2 years, since we've launched our Retree app, we have repurposed over $1 million worth of trees that would otherwise be destroyed. So I was talking to Jason about how this program works, and what it is, so when we plant trees in roadways or things like that, they outgrow that area. So what Retree does is it actually, and not so much city ways, but parking lots and things like that, we partner with you, grow the trees, and then at some point that tree, you invest, tree gets more valuable, and then it outgrows its space. And then what happens is you start to decline. So your return on that investment, you lose, and then you have to take it out, and it costs money. So what Retree does is we are trying to set up urban nurseries with cities where we go in and we recommend plants that, number one, are healthy, strong plants. And then we turn around and we say, okay, 10 years from now, that tree is going to start to outgrow the roadways, things like that. At that point, we say, let us come in, let us list it on our virtual marketplace, which goes all over the United States, architects, things like that, people like that look at that, and we try to sell that tree for you, which it does a few things. It takes your return on your investment, grows it, and then we turn around, we can sell it, we replant the tree, another tree, and then we hand the city a check. We take a small commission, like 20% of the cost, we sell it at a wholesale price. This is, we don't do as many road sidewalk plantings and do that with. We do it more in areas in the cities that are unused, where you're mowing them, you're spending dollars anyways. We set up so it's kind of like a small nursery where you're going to be mowing, purchase the trees, come in, we grow them. 5 years usually is when we start to dig. The trees are owned by the city, so they can be used as city trees here. So you can grow your own trees, you can use them in right-of-ways or replacements. Or we keep a log of what you're growing, and we have the ability to say, okay, we know you have these trees. We can turn around and place them on our marketplace, sell them for you, and we can supply our suppliers and then turn around and give you money back for those. So you do get a return on your investment. It also helps to pay for the mowing of any lots that may be that you're mowing and maintaining anyways. The biggest project that we have done now is a Costco in Brighton, and they had 54 6 to 8 inch diameter ginkgo trees. We went in, we harvested those. They were in big parking lots, and they were 8 inch diameter, so across the trunk. We harvested them. We sent them to New York. We sent them all over the United States. We replanted the right-of-ways, or the parking lot islands, and we turned around and we had the owner of that Cisco at Costco's, I believe it was $55,000 for those trees that they had been growing, which a few years after that, they would be now costing them more money because they were gonna have to take them out and replace them. So we're trying to get a hold of municipalities that like Jackson, we've tried to target Jackson. They decided to use a lot of their vacant properties for the 100 Homes project instead of planting trees and doing things like that, but they may come back around. I just want to throw this out there. I would like to leave some information. We do this for homeowners, businesses. If you have a tree that, you know, is a really nice tree, it's outgrown its space, you need to move, you need to get rid of it because of construction. This also has QR codes, information for you. as individuals, homeowners also. So, that is what I have to say. Did I hit on everything that?
Yes, when she told me about this program, the first thing I thought of is we have 5 acres that's vacant, that's right next to the water treatment plant that we own. And all we do is mow it. So my thought would be that is a perfect spot right next to the water treatment plant to start this nursery. That we can start using to replant not only some of our trees, but also to help offset the costs of whatever else we may have going. So instead of just burning gas and mowing it, why not let's turn this into a little bit of to our use a little bit better than just the grass. So one of the other things too, Bob has been phenomenal to work with as an arborist. He's telling us yes, no, maybe so, and kind of teaching us. Of course, he's starting with crayons because that's the best way I learned, but he's starting to get us educated on everything. So we're really looking forward to working with them and partnering. I couldn't think of anybody better than this group here. So Bob, you want to say anything?
Yeah, Jason did have me look at some of the trees that have been marked for removal. And what I've noticed is there's a lot of older oak trees planted near the street. And they've been damaged over time and they're starting to decay through the trunk. So what I look at when I'm trying to decide whether a tree is worth keeping or not is what's the likelihood of failure on that tree and what is the risk to property or people around it. And more than half the trees I looked at on Erie Street alone, pose a pretty significant risk to people and property. And I do try to save trees whenever I can, but mostly what I'm here for is to try to help establish new trees, make recommendations, and help take care of existing trees too.
Do we have any questions for our president? Yeah, Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. My question, I love the idea. I'm glad you all are here. When removing trees, let's say say we utilize the park space to do the nursery. How much disturbance to the actual like ground and soil when removing those trees are we doing?
Well, we dig with a spade, and usually our spades, depending on how long the tree is, the beauty of trees is when you buy a tree, the bigger it is, the more it costs, because you pay for time. So depending on the size of the tree will determine the size of the spade. So we don't come in, when we come in and dig, say a 2-inch, 2.5-inch tree, say you have a project downtown that you want to move some trees, and you can contact us, we can come and we can dig up the trees for you, move them. The only thing you're gonna have is a hole, and then that hole just gets filled back in with topsoil or something along that line. So you're actually, the other nice thing is you're taking your native soil and you're transplanting it into another native soil. So the trees are not gonna come through and be shocked. So we don't come in and we don't tear up the ground or anything like that. We make sure that the trees have everything they need. Trees are like people. And as you know, when you have trees, and one thing I do preach is we don't want to plant all one kind of tree. You will never see me plant a flowering pear. They're problems, they're invasive. I come in and I say, this is why you don't want this tree, or this is why this tree. We're seeing mass trees being planted, same species, same varieties, and a disease is coming through. It's like a bunch of people in a nursing home together. You know, one disease comes through and they're all so close together, or they're all, you know, and you lose a lot of them. And that's what's happening right now. We're seeing a lot of trees dying because years ago, architects mass planted same varieties. The blue spruces are all dying right now. And that's because they were overplanted, and they were planted too close together. They weren't planted correctly, planted too deep. So that is one of the things that we do really strive for, is to make sure that we mix up species of plants. So not only is it good for the plants, it's good for the neighborhoods, because there's different trees. You don't look at the same tree when you go down the road. And it's very interesting. Manchester is a really great community for that. If you ever go to Manchester, they have tons of different trees. And for a tree geek like myself, it is the coolest thing to see. It's kind of like a mini arboretum when you drive through that. City. So that answers your question.
It does, thank you, appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yes, I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Wright for helping us last Saturday, plant 10 trees. We had 20 or more people there to help, and they said, "Are we done?" They were ready to keep going, so we could have had 20 had I known all of those students were coming, but thank you, they had fun, they worked.
Well, thank you, I enjoyed doing it.
They followed directions.
That's neat that you have a community that likes to do that because, you know, it's not easy to plant a tree. It's not just digging a hole and putting it in the ground. There's a lot involved to planting a tree.
He helped out in terms of location and things like that.
Yes.
That's-
So Bob does a lot of plant healthcare too. So like he said, he doesn't always destroy trees. If we have a tree that's struggling, Bob comes in and does plant healthcare and we try to figure out why it's struggling and save it before you do lose it, because there's usually something that's not been done correctly. That causes that, so.
Well, thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
I am gonna leave some of these little flyers, for if anybody wants to.
Any other questions? Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Next is actually our proclamation for our community designation. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can be a solution combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore I, Victoria Garcia Snyder, Mayor of the City of Albion, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the City of Albion, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. So like I said, this is a distinction that the community of Albion has held for years, and very proud to say that we are able to continue this.
Mayor Snyder, Juanita, and the citizens to beautify Albion are here to receive property.
Wonderful. Well, Ms. Juanita and Marjorie.
And Stacy.
So ladies, do you have any words to say?
I'm at a loss. Anyway, well, as you know, we do the flowers, but we do also plant trees. We've done some at the new garden up there on the point on Michigan Avenue on Park Street. We planted crab apples and we planted this fancy tree that I can't remember the name of it now, but the leaves are like a star. If you know, the guy left. They're like a star, and the color in the fall is gonna be so beautiful. And so we do plant trees, and Weatherford Garden has several trees that we have planted. So it's not only the flowers, but it's also the trees that, you know, we plant. And we welcome anybody to join us.
You want to give a plug for your upcoming meeting?
Oh, yes. Okay, so May 2nd, we have our meeting at St. James Episcopal Church on Erie Street at 10 o'clock. It's a Saturday. And this Saturday, coming up the 25th, we have a pile of wood chips up there on the corner of Austin and Albion Street that we're going to put down against this wall where we envision a mural coming in on Austin Avenue. We're cleaning up that corner up there on the corner of Austin and Albion Street with the perennial gardens that are already there, Johnny Craig's memorial bench across the street, just making that entrance from the west side coming into Albion really pretty.
So do you need volunteers?
We always need volunteers. So Saturday at 10 o'clock, Saturday the 25th, 10 o'clock, on the corner of Austin and Albion Street to spread wood chips that were donated. And we have the fabric because we're gonna spread them like this heavy. We don't want any weeds or anything. Want to make it pretty. And Marjorie, I'm sorry. Oh, and one thing that we're doing to, as you know, we used to plant all those flowers along the street in Albion, and we can't do that anymore because we're all getting older. We just can't do it. But something that we came up last year, we're giving away a $15 value voucher. You go to Jolly Junction and you can use that voucher to beautify your own space. And you either buy plants, flowers, or vegetable plants, or you can buy seeds and put in a little garden. So it's all to beautify your space, and hopefully it'll encourage people to do that with this $15 voucher that Ms. Marjorie has. And it's one per household that we're passing out. Yeah, it's a start.
Yes.
And so, everybody can have something. They can have a little planter, just one planter in front of their porch. Yeah, run it, beautify your neighborhood, one house at a time, 1 yard at a time. That's it. That's it.
Well, let's get a picture from our recorder. Back to you, ladies. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate all of our, thank you. I'm gonna take one because I'm going to take a picture of it and. So who do they get a hold, who do the residents get a hold of if they want one of these?
Any of us, any members of Citizens to Beautify Albion, and we have a web page and a site.
So it's supposed to be today.
Oh, senior, no sé,
Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday. All right, I'm gonna take a picture and promote this.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yep.
And I encourage council to do as well.
Oh, there's farms.
So this is a $15 voucher. So
we
we can,
to buy it.
no,
Oh,
we give this to anybody who wants to go to Jolly Green Junction.
okay.
This is $15 for them to purchase flowers to beautify their front yards. So this is exciting. I mean, that's a wonderful incentive for our residents to do something pretty. All right, next is our presentation on mindful neighbors.
Thank you so much for having me so that I can make this announcement this evening. I'm Dr. Katie Price. I am here in my capacity this evening as a board member for the Michigan chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, as well as a committee member of the Walk to End Alzheimer's Disease. I'm excited to invite you all, as well as everybody here and the whole community, to what I am so grateful for. We're finally doing an event called Mindful Neighbors. It is going to be next Thursday, April 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. At the Opportunity High School. Thank you, Marshall Opportunity High School. This event is being spearheaded by the Alzheimer's Association and has been planned by a handful of community members, including our own council members, Davis and Reed, as well as Shirley Zeller, Jim Seidel, and myself. I would like to please have you all consider joining us, whether dementia has personally affected you or not. This evening is going to be informative. There's going to be presentations as well as community discussion on ways that we can watch out for our family, our friends, and our neighbors, and make this dementia a shared experience and not an isolating one. In addition to these important discussions, there will also be heavy hors d'oeuvres. We know 5 to 7 is dinner time, so we're making sure you're taken care of and you got plenty of your blood sugars up, to get through. So I have flyers here that I'm going to leave. There is a QR code on here if you would like more information outside of just what's on the flyer. And again, we look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday, the 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. Thank you for having me.
Any questions for our presenter?
This is such an important disease, that we should all learn about because most of us are impacted or know someone who is impacted. And Mindful Neighbors really teaches us to take care of each other. So that's why we thank you for coming.
It takes a village, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thanks. All right, next, is our public hearing on the Brownfield plan for 215 and 217 South Superior Street. I will go ahead and open up our public hearing at 7:41 p.m.
Good evening. Thanks for having me this evening. I'm joined tonight with Joe Rebecki from Ace Investment Properties, who is the developer for this project, as well as Dave Van Heeren from Tritera. He is the environmental consultant that assists the developer as well as the City Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. This is for a rental rehab project, 10 apartments total, 5 for the address at 215 and 217 South Superior, as well as the 5 apartments at 300 South Superior and 105 West Porter. These spaces are considered functionally obsolete. They're badly blighted, as we all know. At the March City BRA/Albion Economic Development Corporation board meeting, our board approved funding for asbestos and lead risk assessments, phase 2 subsurface investigations, phase 2 ESA reports, the brownfield plans, and the Act 381 work plan for both of these 2 rental rehabs. I apologize, I'm kind of doing A and C both. I hope that that's okay. For the total project, it's estimated at 2.27 million. Contingent for the Mishta rental rehab award would be 1 million. And this is a requirement for that development to move forward with Mishta to get those funds approved. So tonight we're just seeking your approval on these 2 amended brownfield plans. And I don't know if Joe or Dave have any comments that they would like to add. But with that, that's all I have unless there's any comments or questions for me.
Any council member have questions for Ms. Kalianis? All right, I will open it up for public comment on 215 and 217 South Superior Street.
Hi, Council. Joe Rebecki, 1217 East Porter Street. Wanted to take a brief moment to ask you for your support of the brownfield plans before you tonight. I've worked on these projects for about 9 months. They're very long and complicated application project through Mishta. And these brownfield plans, they make a challenging project more financially sustainable. And perhaps more importantly, both Debbie and Dave from Tritera are here to answer any specific questions about the plans, but I wanted to publicly state my gratitude for Lindsay Rourke at the city for navigating this complicated Mishta application system with me. It's not easy because the grant funds for which we're applying are federal funds. The city must be the applicant. And Lindsay has been an absolutely huge help. And I know that this is in addition to all the other duties that she's managing on a day-to-day basis. So thank you to Lindsay publicly.
Any other public comment on 215, 217 South Superior Street? Seeing no movement, I will close public hearing at 7:45 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-18?
So moved. Support.
Any questions or comments?
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
and Merson.
Yes. Next, I will open the public hearing for 300 South Superior. and 105 West Porter Street at 7:45 p.m. Any public comment in regards to these specific addresses? No movement, I will close public hearing at 7:45 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-19 for 105 West Porter and 300 South Superior?
So moved.
Support. Any question or comment? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Davis, yes, French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Next, I will open the public hearing for our proposed wastewater collection system improvement project. It is 7:46 p.m.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I think a lot of you are aware, several weeks ago, I gave an update on this. We've been working on a project plan, and that is essentially the funding application for funding through Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, also known as EGLE. And this is for wastewater improvements, so it's through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. I'll try to be quick on this, let you ask questions, because I can talk infrastructure forever, you guys know that. So the project plan, the requirement of that, we had a draft prepared, it's been at City Hall here for a few weeks now. And our requirement is a public hearing, which is where we're at right now. And then there's a resolution on here for your consideration following this. And then the project plan itself is due May 1st. Has to be submitted to EGLE. So we'll have a couple of weeks to wrap that up and get that submitted. Perfect, thank you. So in 2017 and 18, the city undertook a SAW grant, and a lot of video was done of the city sewer system, which is kind of like a health checkup. It was the condition that it was in, but nobody really knew what that was. About 110,000 feet of 255,000 feet was videoed, so not quite half of the city's collection system. About 45,000 feet of that was found to be in poor or very poor condition. The assessment also included all system manholes, and of those found 225 structures to be in poor or very poor condition. There is still 144,000 feet of sewer pipe that has not been videoed, so that means we don't know what condition that's in. If it's proportional to the 110,000 feet that was videoed, there's probably some work to do. So those are some needs that were identified in the system. We would look at options and how to address this. So one option that's always exists for every project this applies to you at home is the do nothing alternative. So no action, that's considered, but there are known issues within the sewers system. I think I talked about some of the condition assessments. So there's pictures on the previous slide. There's pictures right here that show some of the issues that were identified. There's significant cracks. There are pipe joints that are offset. There are voids in the sewer, and more has been discovered even since then. So we looked at two different realistic options. One we called the optimum performance, the other one we called the full replacement. The optimum performance, we looked at the sewer, broke it into a couple different categories. So there's about 36,500 feet of cured in place that is proposed. And what that is, it's a felt liner. If you picture it in a circular shape, but when it's loose, you can bend it into the shape of a U, which makes it smaller. And you shove that into a sewer, you apply heat and pressure, it expands, it hardens, and it becomes stronger than the carrier pipe originally was. It does not need anything from the carrier pipe. It has structural integrity to it. And then it allows the wastewater to be conveyed through that. And afterwards they go through and they cut out all the services. Picture the houses that come into the sewer. They televise it beforehand. They put the liner in, they go in and they cut the services in, they televise it again to make sure they got everything done. So it's very efficient. It's not non-destructive, if you will. Doesn't tear up the roads, minimal disruption to traffic. So of the 44,000 that needs improvement, about 36,500 can have this cured in place pipe put in place. About 7,900 feet is not lineable. A liner will not work. The joints are too far offset. There's too large of voids. There are things protruding into the sewers. In some cases, there are conduits that have been drilled through it. Don't know when that occurred. You know, if it happened last week from a fiber company, we could hold them accountable, but nobody knows when this occurred. So you cannot line a pipe that has another conduit or pipe going through it. So it's about 7,900 feet that does require traditional replacement. That's what you're kind of used to seeing going around town right now. With backhoes are out there, they're digging down, putting in a new water main and putting in new sewers. So that'd be a component of the project. There's about 206 manholes for lining. So the way we line the sewers, it's something similar for manholes, a little bit different. Who sprays on, but they'll go through, they'll put some hydraulic grout in, seal off the joints, and then they put a liner in it, and that helps protect the manhole and gives it integrity, and also some, usually a new casting up on top. Another component is the videoing of the remaining sewer. So asset management planning is eligible for funding through this program. So as we worked with the city team on this, we said, this is the time to get this done. So we're including 144,000 feet of pipe that is in unknown condition right now as part of it. The full replacement alternative, now, and real quick, the a couple other things on the optimum performance. So we learned from the water project, we had no plans to do sewer work, and we got close to it, the sewer often collapsed, and it ended up being added to the project. And that even sewers that were in perfect condition had very minimal structural integrity to them, and they collapsed. So we knew we better look at water main on this project. This is a sewer application we're looking at. We knew we better look at the water main on the same road. Plus, we don't want to tear up the road and leave older infrastructure, which is in place right now. So in doing that and looking at that with the city, we ended up, so it was about 7,900 feet of sewer needs to be replaced. We're at about 9,000 feet of water main to go along with that. Now, on somewhat the bright side, a lot of that water main is in close proximity to the sewer. It's supposed to be 10-foot separation. So we could not get a permit for the sanitary sewer unless the water main is moved over. For that reason, that water main replacement is considered fundable under the same sewer program, which has rates of 1 or 2% for the city. So that's the bright side of that. It adds more to it. The infrastructure is old and aging, doesn't need to be replaced. So it kind of, it's good timing to do that. The estimated cost of that project is $23.11 million. And then there's an additional $1 million of water main replacement. That is, we had some cases where a sanitary sewer manhole, the upstream end ended about 100 feet short of an intersection. And instead of stopping the water main there, we had several instances of this, that it made more sense to go up to the intersection with the water main. So that's where you get some extra length of water main in this. And like I said, there's several, and there's some cases where there's a block, and for some reason there's 4 manholes in this block, and the middle piece of sewer needs to be replaced. The other segments can be lined. We said, let's get the water main for the full block, stop at the intersection, but at least not do a partial on that. So that's why there's more water main than sanitary sewer, but most of it is fundable through the CWSRF program. The full replacement option has just 44,400 feet of replacement. No lining, just replace all the pipe, replace all the manhole, don't line those. Still video the 144,000 feet of unknown. That has an estimated price tag of about 39.77 million, plus the other $1 million for the water main. So ultimately, looking at this was a pretty easy choice to go with. We're recommending the optimum performance. And again, there's 2 distinct parts. There's the wastewater collection system improvements and the asset management planning. So the improvements include the lining, the sewer replacements, the manhole lining, and then the asset management planning is the videotaping of the remaining 144,000 feet of sanitary sewers. There are 16 segments of sewer that did require replacement of all the sewers we looked at. And again, that's about 7,900 feet of sewer, about 9,000 feet of water main on that. For the sewer televising, that does have to be done under some strict standards that rates the pipes. We talked about the ratings 1 to 5. So there are certifications that the operators must possess to rate those pipes. to make them eligible for funding through this program. Anyone can go video them and say that's a bad sewer, but we can't get it funded unless it has a, NASCO, National Association of Sewer Service Companies, rating of 4 or 5. So, wanna go to the next one, please, Jill? So this is a little bit tough to see. Next one's a map. And it shows, it's tough to see here. If you zoom in, you can see pretty well, but all of the yellow are locations where we're lining sewers. And you can see blue is where we're replacing. It's spread out over the entire city, so it was tough to get this, to be able to see it, but you know, it's the 44,000 feet of sewer, and it is spread out all over the city. And one thing I should say, I last gave you an update, we did add North Monroe Street to this. Jason had called me, had some issues, some backups, and I went out there and met with them. We're like, this is the time to add this one in. So we did add that into our project. That's about 2,000 feet of sewer replacement and water main replacement that was added in. So the next page has kind of the funding summary. So this shows, as I mentioned, the estimated CWSRF amount is 23.11 million. Keep in mind that the additional $1 million for water main replacement is in addition to that. The water main replacement does add up to about just over $6 million. So it's a pretty hefty amount. Between the water and the sewer that will require removing all the pavement, which will then require replacing it. So that would all be included under this funding program. We ran 2 different financing scenarios, so we assumed that it would be 100% loan. We have not completed yet the calculations. There's a calculation that has to be done to determine if the city is overburdened or significantly overburdened, and that impacts the rates. On the water side, we ended up at overburdened, which we got a 2% interest rate. And the reason for that is that I believe 3 township customers accounted for 55% of the water usage. It's a calculation based on the median household income of each local government taxing entity. So there are 3 very large users in the township, and so that took us out of the significantly overburdened position by a little bit. I think the sewer flows are different than what the water were, so I'm optimistic, but we're still getting some information on that. What we have shown right here is if we get the significantly overburdened status, their city would receive 1% interest rate for 30 years. That's really an outstanding rate. That would result in a 60% increase to the wastewater sewer bill for an average residential customer. And that would go from about $41.42 per month to $66.27. One thing I'll mention as well is whichever one of those that we receive, either overburdened or significantly overburdened. In the last funding cycle, overburdened communities received 13% principal forgiveness, which is essentially grant, but they call it principal forgiveness. Significantly overburdened communities received 18%. So if you recall in the water project, we got a 50% grant. There was ARPA money involved. So that was from COVID money. There's several different funding bills on that, but the city received 9.6 million on that one because of the COVID money. Essentially, that money's all gone. That's now no longer available. It's all been accounted for or committed. You can look at the next one. We ran a scenario for if the city just achieved the overburden status for 2% interest, and that results in a 65% rate increase for a typical residential user. Now, again, this is just the strictly loan. This does not account for any principal forgiveness in here at all. The one other thing I do want to mention is that applying for this does not obligate the city. So there would be soon we get a funding offer, the city could decide yes, the city could decide no, the city could say we only want to borrow $8 million, could reduce the scope. With the only caveat to that is you can't remove anything that gave us points. This is competitive. So if we remove something that we lost 10 points and they said, okay, you can reduce the scope, but now you're no longer fundable. You went from getting 18% principal forgiveness and a 1% low interest loan to not even getting funded. So, and we would have those discussions with staff before a decision was made, but that is something, so you can reduce the scope. I will say, if you do reduce the scope, it doesn't make any of the problems go away, it just kicks them down the road, so. And one other thing on that note, I do wanna share is that. I think from probably the early eighties through probably 2018, somewhere in that range, there was not a whole lot done to the city's infrastructure. So I don't believe any of you were on council back in the eighties or nineties or probably early
2010.
Okay, so.
Not guilty.
So, yeah, so in those prior years, and the city does have extremely low water and sewer rates compared to other communities. That by itself is not any justification to raise them, but I think investing in the infrastructure, I think it was heavily neglected for quite a bit of time, and you're not alone in that, other communities are in similar places as well. But it is, there's some catch-up time here right now. The plan with 144,000 televising that, what we would probably anticipate is a phase 2 of this coming in 2030, 2031, something like that. So that'd be on the heels once we know the condition of that. Probably be to pursue funding for the next phase of it. Next slide, please. So just to cover on the schedule here, so here we are tonight with the public hearing and hopefully plan adoption after this. Final plan is due May 1st, as I mentioned. The city will receive preliminary scoring in July. We'll have an opportunity to seek more points or to clarify things. And then a funding opportunity, a draft would come out in September, final, what Eagle called their intended use plan, which is how they're going to use their CWSRF funding for the fiscal year. It would be issued in October. At that point, the city would receive notification of funding and have to decide whether to move forward or not. Assuming the city move forward, design would begin then in October. Final plans and specs are due in April of 2027, so about a year from now. All permits in place in May. We bid the project in June. The city would tentatively award contracts in July of 27. There'd be a closing with Michigan Finance Authority on the funding in August. Probably September, we'd have pre-construction meetings, and you see begin construction in 2027. I highly expect that would be the sewer lining that can go on year round. We don't start much underground construction on roads in Michigan in November, but they can line all winter long, so that could get underway. We'd love to have that done by probably September of 27. And the reason for that is the next funding application is November 1st. An intent to apply for funding is due. So if we can have that done by September, we can assess the information and submit an intent to apply. Again, that does not obligate the city to anything, but it makes you eligible. If you don't submit the intent to apply, you can't do the project plan and apply for funding. And then construction would occur throughout the entire 2028 construction season with completion in spring, early summer of 29. Told you I'd be quick and I lied. I'm sorry. All right. Are there any questions?
Mayor Burton.
Thanks. Nikki, it's always good to hear from you and hear about the plans that you have for us. One question about the camera use. And Jason is well aware that I actually live in a house that has an undocumented sewer line because it's connected to 3 other houses. And so the question is, when we camera our sewer lines, we're cameraing from the city side, not necessarily from the resident side. So how do we create a plan that allows for the very creative sewer line system that some of our houses have?
Yeah, so I think there are cameras that can go up the laterals. That technology does exist. If you go down a street and you see there's one sewer lateral and you look at an aerial or you walk out there and you see there's 3 houses, I kind of say, well, somehow, unless somebody has a septic system, they're all connected. And when we go through at some point, if that sewer is replaced, this happens with water services as well. We'll find 3 homes or 4 homes connected to one service because it was convenient. That is not allowed by Eagle to have that. So if that sewer is replaced, we would run separate laterals. It could get tricky getting them connected, because you think if it runs around the back or something like that, but they would have to be separate, and each house should have its own lateral. So The city is responsible for the sewer main itself. I believe your ordinance says each resident responsible from the main to the house, which,
Yeah.
Most communities-
House to house.
Yeah.
That's a gray area.
yeah, it is, and there aren't a lot of those, but they do exist, and, you know, you are blessed or cursed to have some unique things here in Albion with your infrastructure.
Right, but I'm not worried about whether who's gonna pay for it, just that we have an idea of what exists, right, so that we can then plan.
We've been actually, every time we do a camera system, we record it and we've been giving it to Whiteman. They've been uploading it into GIS so we know where they're at. And then on these major constructions, we get a camera that has a lateral launch system and we'll send it up to the person's house and GPS locate it. And then that gets put into our blueprints as well. So now we have an idea of every single place where it's at, along with depth and so forth.
Yeah, thank you. When they cut the laterals out, after putting in the sod, do they do it from the resident's house? Or does that time the laterals with?
The camera?
No,
With the line.
So,
Yeah,
hold on.
after that line, and they gotta cut in the lateral.
Great question. So the lining, what we do is it would line the main, and then we do, they have the ability to go up about, what they call them a top hat. It goes up into the lateral just a couple feet.
Okay.
And the reason that's important is those joints often settle. So you think of a smaller pipe coming into the main, there can be stresses put on there, they do crack, and so we wanna get a good seal. That's a good opportunity for either stormwater to get in or roots to get in. So they will get that part right there. So like probably the first 2 feet from the main up the lateral.
So that'll
That's
be
it.
line too.
Yeah, just the first couple of feet. The places where we're replacing the sewer main, when we do that, we are going about to the right of way with the laterals. So everyone there, wherever the sewer is getting replaced. Because, you know, again, the conditions of the laterals, we're not sure, but we've got the ground excavated, and they'll get PVC back to near the right of way.
Yeah, that was mine is a simplified measure. I see, the outline of the manholes. So where the sewers are being replaced, what impact does that have on the roadway or the street? Is it going to be enough to maybe do some work on that particular street under this grant?
Yes, under this funding, and then I just want to stress it as a loan, there is potential for a grant, but it's essentially a loan, program,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, so. The sanitary sewer, I'd say 90% of the time is down the middle of the road, cause that just makes sense, to gravity to serve each house on each side, so it goes down the middle. A lot of them are probably 8 to 12 foot deep, and so if you picture a trench, to be safe. The slopes on the side are usually a 1-on-1, means 1 vertical to 1 horizontal, so if we're 10 foot deep, that's 20 foot. And then you gotta have a 2 to 3 foot wide working space at the bottom, so we're about 22, 24 feet wide. And that leaves probably a few feet of pavement from there to the curb on either side, that would likely fall in during construction. Additionally, with the water main replacement, it's gonna have to be moved away from, so it's gonna be on one side or the other of the sewer main at least 10 feet away. So that will necessitate removing the pavement, so wherever there is full sewer replacement and water main replacement, that roadway will be essentially replaced. Kind of like what happened with the water project, very similar. Did that answer your question?
It does, it does. I'm just wondering which streets are going to be impacted, so. No problem.
You wanna know them?
Maple?
No.
He was cornered today regarding Maple,
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Yeah, if you wanna know them, there's like I said, 16 or 17 segments, so if you want, I do have them if you wanna know them. Yeah.
We trust you.
Councilman Frost.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mickey, for this presentation and this very thorough report. Got a few questions regarding project scope and maybe Director Clark would weigh in on financing as well. So looking at what your numbers were here, I'm on page, what is this? 232. where we're talking about the total revenue annual and typical homeowners bill. You talked about this is a loan, so it would be paid back through taxes, right?
Through sewer rates.
Through sewer rates.
Yep,
Which of course, the residents are gonna feel, and that's gonna go up. Your numbers here say somewhere around 60%, depending on that 1% or 2%, right?
Yep.
Now, there's a potential that it could, either a 13% principal forgiveness or 18% principal forgiveness. But that's probably not something that you're gonna feel right away, right? It's something that's gonna be down the line if that happens.
That would be part of the offer if that occurs, so that would reduce the amount.
Okay.
We reduce the rate increase. You know, the rate increase is just to collect enough capital to make the debt payments. So that's the reason for the rate increase. Any principal forgiveness would reduce that. So I think that would be, I think what we're showing is probably a worst case scenario. And then one, I guess, caveat to that is if there's some crazy thing that occurs that causes massive inflation again. We saw a lot during COVID where prices went up 25% a year for a few years. I mean, it was really aggressive, and you know, that's something we're hoping we're out beyond that now, and things have seemed to settle down a little bit. So
Sure, I understand that, and I know that the new rates would reflect more what's normal regionally anyway, about $65 to $70 a month. But when you're looking at Albion, where right now our average rates are close to $40 a month, go to $65 to $70, that's a pretty big increase. So this goes into my project scope question for you. I know the finance part was for Director Clark's neighborhood plan. So you talked about that this proposal here is for 50% really of what still needs to be done. And is the next 50%, is that part of this phase 2 that you're talking about in 2030? Okay.
that's all, that's kind of our plan right now, is like, let's assess the condition of the other 144,000 feet. And let's find out what we don't know. And then at that point, and if we find out and just say, look, the appetite for another project isn't here right now. Okay, so be it, wait another year or something. We're gonna know the condition and it's gonna be what it is. Maybe all 144,000 is in great condition. That'd be the best news possible, right? Likely that's not the case. And we had a brief discussion about that with this current recommended alternative, and that, you know, hey, we got this sewer, we can't line this is bad, should this be a separate thing? And it's like, we have knowledge of this, we know this is the condition, it would not be responsible to say, let this go. And so that's kind of where, so I think the next phase, being out of 110,000 feet, we got 44,000 feet to be replaced or repaired. The next televised is 144,000. Probably gonna be 60,000 feet, maybe more. So it'd probably be a heftier project. Maybe there's more lining than replacement, you know, hard to say on that, but you know, like I said before, the condition is what it is, we just don't know what that is right now. And once we know, right now there's a little bit of peace in having ignorance, not knowing, you know, like how bad it might be or it might be good, but once we find out, then we know. And then we make a decision with our eyes open, and that's what you guys get to do on that decision.
Sure, and I firstly, I appreciate all the work that you are doing, and I see the importance and know the importance of getting our infrastructure fixed up in this city, but I'm also trying to just also for our own education, make everyone aware of really what's not just in front of us now, but what's down the road. So we're talking about 2030, that's in less than 4 short years away, being presented with another proposal at least as much as the one in front of us now, to take on the rest, which we want to do. I mean, we want the city to be working at its fullest capacity. But I'm also looking at what can we bear as a community, right? And I don't have any answers, but I think there's certainly things that we need to be talking about and try and think about the future and what we need to focus on. Because according to your own report here, Albion's population is at 0, and I think that's a pretty generous number. It's really stagnant, these are really kind of declining. So this expense that our community is being asked to bear, it's not going to go down in the future unless, as a community, we can figure out how to increase our tax base, increase the people here who can contribute to these infrastructure improvements that we're talking about, right?
Yep, absolutely. So the one thing I would note on that too is that we are always looking for funding opportunities out there. And so just a couple that help offset this a little bit. We did get the congressionally directed spending for Albion Street and Bean and Hoagland, the amount of $4 million, and after replacing sewers on those. We also received $2.5 million for Beamer, Magnata, and Little Block of Dean to replace sewers and water main on those. So there's $6.5 million that went toward water, wastewater, some storm sewer, some curb and gutter, and then roadway reconstruction as well. So that went a long ways. We keep our eyes open. We're pretty plugged into a lot of those different programs that are out there, and we apply everything. You know, we're not batting 1,000 by any means, but we're putting our hat in the ring for a whole lot. And I've been pleased with what we've been able to secure so far. I think it's been impactful, and you can tell it's tough to get around town right now. But you're right, it's a heavy burden, no doubt it is. And that's kind of why I mentioned some of the history and the lack of investment that probably occurred for 30 years or 35 years, you know. So, and it's unfortunate. I wouldn't care to be in your seats either, you know. It's tough, it is.
Councilman Williams?
Thank you, Mayor. Are any of our recently repaired streets at risk of having to have the sewer lines replaced or the mains moved?
Yeah, great question. So the ones we did for the water project, all of those, the sewer was televised, and most of them it was replaced. There might be a couple that we didn't that were in good condition. The one that jumps out to me though is Irwin Avenue. That water main was replaced in 2020, 21, something like that. When we did that project, the water main was replaced. We didn't touch the sewer. Did some manhole work, but we didn't do anything with the sewer mains. And I would hate to see anything happen there. So that was priority. One of the first projects I said we've got to do Irwin Avenue. We don't want that to fall in or anything to happen there. When we looked at the assessments, almost all of it was rated 4 and 5, so we can line it. There was one section in the middle that's a 3, and Eagle says that's not eligible for lining. But we can make a case that it was installed at the same time as the others, and on either side of it, it's a 4 and a 5. We've been successful in other applications where we've made that case and Eagle has approved it. So we'll probably get some pushback on that one, but we can make a case as to why that 300 feet should be lined as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does. I have another question as well. Back to the same page, Councilman Frost was talking about the 2027 rate increase. So it's expected to be 90%? 60.
60.
But I saw 60 everywhere else, and looking at this, it's saying 90. So maybe it's just wrong.
Is that that might be for the full replacement alternative?
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, that was more.
If we did the
that makes sense.
What's the amount? It's almost like 40.
Yeah, the 39.
39.77.
Yeah, got you. Okay. And then we would have to add the additional million of that.
Plus the million, either one, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be 40.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So kind of like reiterating what Nikki had said, though, this will come back to us again if we get this approved. So this is just giving Whiteman the ability to submit the application, and then we make the hard decisions after that if we need to. So this is definitely a great opportunity to kind of start conversations with your constituents if they bring it up. Like I heard, this is what's coming down the pipe. Are you serious about raising rates again? We can talk to them about how this has come about and why this is important work. Because as we know, and we've been told, a lot of our infrastructure is failing. It's failing. I hear time and time again of residents who are getting sewer backed up into their houses. That is not sanitary. We cannot have this. We need to address it. So I think we have this knowledge to start having these conversations. This is a great way to address it. But we all are gonna have to kind of make sure we're talking about this on a regular basis, because it's not gonna happen tomorrow. We're not gonna know probably until another several months. So at that point, that's when we start making decisions.
Yeah, that, you summarized it perfectly. And one thing, it'd be really wise to have those discussions in the meantime so that it doesn't just come up in October. Because if it does there's some questions and then it's tabled again. If you're offered this funding, you have to have 90% plans submitted in February. You can't start in January, you can't start in December, you can't start design to maybe start at the beginning of like your first November meeting, but anything beyond that's gonna be really tough to meet that deadline. And then if you miss the deadline, you lose funding and you're not automatically in for the next round, so.
So these are tough conversations that we're gonna have, but that's why we've been elected to be in those positions.
Right.
Councilman Williams.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. The principal forgiveness. When would we know if we were going to receive, so say we go through the application process, we got approved, all that. When would you know you're receiving the principal forgiveness?
Great question. So in September, Eagle typically publishes a draft IUP, intended use plan. That says how they're gonna use their annual allocation of this funding for both loan dollars and principal forgiveness dollars. So we'll have an idea in September, it's draft. There's usually a few tweaks. Some community might drop out and say, we can't do it now. And then you'll see when they get to the final plan, someone drops off and funding's increased or someone else is added, but we'll have an idea at that point. And then in October, the final intended use plan is published. And that contains the final figures of how much every community applied for, what their score was, how much interest or how much loan they're getting, how much principal forgiveness they're getting. Last year, I think I mentioned it was 13% for overburdened communities and 18% for significantly overburdened communities. That's not a guarantee what it's going to be the next year. So Eagle can adjust that. It's a much lower rate than what they've had, so I would expect it would probably continue similar to that, but we'll find out. Draft in September, final in October of this year, 26. So that's when you'd have that information in hand when you make that decision.
Councilman Stark.
Thank you, Mayor. And Mr. Bittner and also Director Kern, is there any potential for optimism on the phase 2? I know that's not what we're talking about here, but just as we look ahead, from the standpoint of, is there any chance that what we've been looking at on purpose was our worst? And so the phase 2 maybe isn't gonna be as bad, or is there no real sense of potential optimism?
I would love to have that optimism, but looking at the sewers that were televised, a lot of the ones along the river were not done in 2017 and 18. I think those, and I don't know, we weren't involved in that, and I don't know what discussions took place at that time, but in my mind, those would have been a priority because if you're getting groundwater into your sewers, that means your wastewater plant is treating clean water unnecessarily. So those would be the most important ones to know. The ones up on high ground around McIntosh Park that don't have a high water table, I probably would have left those for later, but for whatever reason, and you know, there may have been a good reason to do that, but those, it was the other direction around, so. Now
That's all I was asking.
That said,
I'd like to know.
that said, Director Kern did televise one of the river crossings going underneath, and he and I both fully expected that to have taking out river water and going right to the plant, and it was dry as a bone. After the wastewater was blocked and they could look at it, so we suspect that was probably replaced at some point. But
I will say, so we pump about 1.4, 1.5 million gallons of water through our system. We are taking in about 2.9, 2.7 million gallons coming into the wastewater treatment plant.
Almost done.
So where you have, just figure at least 1 million gallons coming in that we have no idea where it's coming in from.
infiltration, so. There's kind of two options here really on where that could be coming from. One could be an artesian well.
I don't wanna say that.
But the most likely is probably groundwater, which would be in the lower areas of the, which would be along the river, you know, not just. I'm not talking like within 20 feet of the river, I'm talking all the lower areas that are like below the water table. It's several blocks.
Everywhere south of town.
Yep, exactly, yeah, so. That is a high likelihood candidate for taking on groundwater, getting into the sewers, and a lot of the sewers are clay. So clay pipe with 6 foot sections, so you got joints every 6 foot. It's old, it's brittle. That's.
Councilman Reeves.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The 3 million gallons that we're looking at currently. Is that the inflow that we use to base our bills off of?
No, that comes off the sewer, off the water meter usage.
Gotcha.
So we have over 1 million gallons that everybody's paying to treat that we can't collect on because we can't get it to stop.
Gotcha.
So.
All right, thank you, Mickey. That's a lot of info. So I will open it up for the public comment on this topic. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to say and address council in regards to our proposed application for funding for this, you may come forward. Seeing no movement, I will close the public hearing at 8:27 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-20?
So moved.
Support. Any other additional questions or comments? City Clerk Mia.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Public comments. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item, you may do so at this time. Any movement?
Good evening, council. Want to congratulate you for taking on this very tough subject. I'm the village manager in Homer. We're going through something like this on a much smaller scale. But all of us that are in smaller or older communities, I mean, it's a tough deal. I mean, it's not just the water and the sewer. We got the roads, we got sidewalks, we got trees that are built or planted between the sidewalk and the roads, and they're causing water line breaks, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's you guys should be congratulated on addressing this issue. And I know it's a big money deal, and you're working with a great company with Whiteman, so I know you're working with the best. My name is Art Kale, and I am the chair of the Albion Homer Substance Abuse Prevention Services. And I just want to, on behalf of the coalition and Dr. Harry Bonner, thank you for recognizing the Albion or the Alcohol Awareness Month proclamation. So much of what we do is reaching out to the kids, and we can have all these great programs and all these grants for these great programs, but if we don't reach the kids, it's nothing but a big secret. And so anytime we have an opportunity to publicize what we do, we really appreciate that. And you should know that people like Chris Farmer and Marquetta Frost and Mo Berry and Dr. Harry Bonner, they're working 24/7 to reach these kids and help these kids when there's issues in the middle of the night. So again, I want to tell you how much we appreciate your support, and again, thank you so much for that, and welcome back, Cheryl.
Would anybody else like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item? All right, moving on. Do I have a motion to approve of the consent calendar items?
So moved.
Support.
All right, in your packets, we have the April sixth, regular session minutes. We have the applications for the fireworks at Farms Park. We have applications for, Jason Kern for initial appointment to the ADA. Reappointments for Ian Barbour, Tim Zeller, and Bruce Nelson to the EDC. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion to approve of a 3-year contract with WCA Assessing?
So moved. Support.
I see that we have Dan Curry with us here tonight. Dan, were you prepared to come and talk or?
I have just a short and sweet thing to say, if you guys will have me. Good evening, council. I'm Daniel Curry, city assessor. I just want to say on the behalf of WCA Assessing, I wanted to express our gratitude for the opportunity to serve this wonderful community. And with your consideration, we are looking forward to hopefully another amazing 3 years here. So again, I just want to thank you for your consideration on this.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Curry? He is our current city assessor. You will find him dwelling in the basement.
I got upgraded. I'm on the main floor now.
Oh, yeah, good job.
Yes, yeah. Big promotion.
Anything, have additional comments?
I just want to mention that we did have a meeting and we had a very good discussion in regards to the assessment process here in Albion and some future opportunities we could explore as well. And Mr. Curry has adjusted his calendar in terms of when he's in the office in City Hall to coincide with us being close on Friday. So we'll be on, what's it, Thursdays?
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Yes.
So I will say that I am a member of the Board of Appeals. Been on the board for 3 years, in the same amount of time that Dan's been here, but each year our processes get smoother and more streamlined. So I do want to show my appreciation for Dan's hard work. Because he literally, we think this was a staff, when he comes to a meeting, he has a staff like this of appeals that he's working with citizens to make sure that they have the proper documentation in place so that it is ready for the board to review. And he walks us through it professionally. I don't think there's any stone unturned when it comes to the information that we need. So I do want to thank you for your hard work in working with our residents who do feel like they have a leg to stand on in regards to an appeal for the property.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor.
And I would like to say my one time subbing, I was a sub, and things are vastly different. So I hadn't worked with them before, but I appreciate the work you put in before we even get to the table, and it shows. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you again.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Frost,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed, Stewart,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-21 to waive the mobile vending fee for Juneteenth?
So moved.
Councilman Reed?
Juneteenth will be celebrated here in Albion on the 20th of June. This year, it'll be one day after the 19th, but we do appreciate waiving our fee because our money is tight. Just put it like that. So, and we do hope that you all come out and celebrate with us. This year, we've got a lot of things going, and we hope to have another children's ball game this year too. Last year, Albion played Marshall, and it was just really, really neat. And the kids had a lot of fun, and so did the parents.
Any questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Frost,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the assembly permit, sound application, and park waiver fee for Juneteenth? So. Support. Same information, any questions in regards to this application? City Clerk Linda?
Councilmember French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Stewart.
Yes.
Frost.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the application for Selena Shell? Support. So in your packets, we have the information for the Sundays running from August 2nd to September 13th. This is a widely popular event that they have for the community. Any questions or comments? There's our Nina.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Stewart.
Yes.
Frost.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve of alcohol in public places permit for the following events with the LA Minimal, the anniversary on May 30th, Helen Line on August 1st, and Rocky Beat on August 20th? Support. In your package, you have the information and application, all of the verifications and signatures needed. City manager, do you have additional comments on this?
No, we have, they met all the requirements and we would recommend your, consideration.
Any question for city manager? City clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Frost.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the expense for 18 pallets of mastic patcher material?
So moved.
Support. Yes, Greg?
Good evening, council. This is to buy another shipment for the mastic patcher so we can continue going down East Erie, some parts on Erie, West Erie. We'll also do Clark Street where the seams are coming apart, and then Watson as well. So we're mainly using this patcher for the long roadways. This isn't something you just do little spots with. This is quite a process. So once we get set up, we like to get areas that we can start rolling out pretty good. You'll see us mainly adjust our schedules to do this more at nighttime or early morning hours, like 3 a.m. or even come in at midnight. That way we have less traffic disruption, and we learned our lesson on doing East Erie during the day.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I would suggest that you actually close the road.
Well, that's one of the lessons we learned.
So whether it happens during the day or in the middle of the night, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like the streets that you name are not easily detoured around.
Yeah, that's kind of why we wanted to switch our schedules, and we learned a lot on East Erie.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So we've had a few water main breaks that we've had to replace, and you know, they leave some really ugly and unsightful blemishes in the road. It can be used to, like, the longer, I don't know, maybe I saw one earlier, probably 3 feet wide and 12 to 15 feet long.
No, that actually needs some asphalt.
Gotcha.
And so what our plan is, it's kind of like we had a water main break down on Mingo and Porter. And I'm trying to stretch that asphalt a little bit further. So, because it's not just everywhere we have these breaks, you go another 5 feet and there's more potholes. So I can't just fix that little spot and make it nice when I've got a huge hole over here. So what my plan to do is actually get it to where Lakeland's coming in doing these other streets. And so I can save on deployment costs, and I can just patch a bigger area and just do it all at the same time.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
So you're keeping track of where all of these.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're keeping track, and we're putting more dirt back in. Then it rains and it washes it back out. We gotta put more dirt back in, just trying to buy as much time as we can.
Now, when you're doing the longer stretch, are you planning on doing like the entire section of street?
Yep. So we'll go that whole joint. It's basically everywhere you go down, you see those long potholes are just, that's from where the seam of the asphalt was. And so our goal is to just go through and start filling that back in. And then on some of the other streets that haven't cracked yet, we wanna go back over it as a preventative maintenance to seal that off, so it doesn't open up like Clark Street has.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah, present for you.
Oh.
Any other questions?
Down tomorrow, you know, when I was talking to you about when the people turn off Cleveland Street on the Chestnut, they go to the.
Yes.
Well, I was out cleaning the leaves from along the front of the curb. I was cleaning that up. And where they have been doing it, I have some great pieces of stuff that popped out of the potholes that's about this thick and about like this. I'll bring them to you tomorrow. Yes. And maybe you'd like to feel those.
Any other comments in regards to this topic? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Davis. Yes. French.
Yeah.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve the expenditure for Concord excavating for the small pavilion.
So moved.
Support.
This is for the cement work that was done, that the pavilion sits on. The bill came to 16,000. I worked with Mickey in designing the pad. The previous pad was just a slab that had sat there, and that's what caused a lot of the heaving. What we did is we actually beefed up the pad, made it wider, and then made it longer. And then we actually put footings underneath it. We went 2 foot down, 1 foot wide, and then that's what the building itself sits on currently. I also decided to go and put a 10-foot patio on the front and then make a 8-foot wide sidewalk that's gonna connect to the new cement sidewalks there. On each side of that patio, there's going to be double grills that face the playground equipment, and then we're also putting in an ADA compliant drinking fountain. And so we went a lot bigger, a lot longer, a lot wider, and a lot thicker. So we won't have any cracks this time.
What type of grills?
Just regular charcoal grills. But we went with the double ones instead of the singles.
Any questions for Director Kern on this discussion?
So scrubbery or something around there to.
We're gonna put some gravel because it's pretty low and it's pretty wet through there. So we're gonna put in French drains on both sides that'll go into the collection system out front. And so there'll be a little bit of gravel, but then we might look at doing something after that.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Ross.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Stewart.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Thank you, Director Kern, for all that.
Yeah.
Good information and hard work. Next in your packets is updated information on our grant reporting. It's been a while since we brought this to council to update you all on how we've been doing as of recent in regards to getting money for the community. As you can see in the graph, in the year 2025, we were awarded 3 grants, in 2026 already 1 grant in the total amount of $3,401,000. So I think this is great news for our community. And as who said that Lindsay's been working really hard. I know that she has a lot on her plate. She is our main grant writer for the city. So I know that she's done so much work in regards to making sure we have our T's crossed, I's dotted for these applications. So I'm hopeful that we will get more yeses in the year of 2026. City Manager, do you have anything else to add?
It won't be for a lack of trying.
Exactly. Councilman Williams.
Yeah, I got a question about that first grant, the Albion Infrastructure Project. It's the Vista CDBG in my neighborhood 3.0.
So we have a
At the
slide.
very top,
Yeah.
at the very top. What's that?
That's for the new housing. I can't think of the address right now. I wanna say it's. Watson and.
Washington and Pine.
Yes, Washington and Pine. It's one that we were going to submit last fall, but somehow it fell through the cracks. We wanted to apply for another rehab, but Mishta has told, our organization at the EDC that we were pretty much tapped out with home rehab. Even though we have a significant need for more rehab projects. So they indicated that it would be likely that we'd be most approved for the infrastructure. So it's to provide for new infrastructure for the homes in concert with working with Norfolk Homes for the new construction.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments in regards to our grant information?
Will this be placed on the, maybe the city website or, because one of the. I guess
Jackson does.
concerns that have been shared is, have you written any grants? So is this confidential or?
Confidential is included in the agenda packet, so.
Right.
Yeah, the city of Jackson does that. I know they put it on their website. I've seen a few other places that do as well.
Right, because I know that sometimes there's a concern, and it has been concern, at the council meetings, so if this, the more is shared, the more the citizens will know that things are happening.
Yeah. I think.
And I will say another little bit of good news is that we've been able to clear the first hurdle with federal appropriation funds for senior housing. Through Congressman Wahlberg's office, we were notified of that, so fingers crossed that we can make it to the finish line.
Yes.
Hope so.
Much it is.
3.5 million.
It's your mouth, Dave.
I just know the other side of it doing that funding.
Just hoping, fingers crossed. Alright, any other questions or comments? Very good, city manager report? No, sorry. Future agenda items. Anything council would like to see on the upcoming agenda? Public comments?
Good evening, everybody. Steve Frisbee, 44th District State Rep. First of all, welcome back, City Manager. We had the opportunity to have breakfast at the MML conference. She felt very comfortable coming back, and I think that's a direct reflection of you six sitting here. So congratulations on changing the culture and the climate in Albion and working together. I think that's a huge part of trying to make this town successful. It's great to see. Did have a conversation with Congressman Wahlberg's staff about the housing issue project funding, and gave him a very positive thanks for that, and hope it, he continues to push that. So that would be very good for Albion. Thank you to the mayor for coming to spend the late afternoon into the evening with me at the State of the State earlier this year. She was my guest on the House floor. It's quite an experience to see. I was amazed. I was amazed the first time. I was amazed again by the pomp and circumstance of it, yet the content of what is included, and where can we find as a legislative body, alignment with the governor to work on different projects. We did it last year, got roads done. So we found a few more things we're going to continue to work on together with the governor and hopefully the Senate. So the budget looks like it should be on time this year, barring no surprises. Lansing's full of surprises, so I never, don't doubt that they couldn't happen and delay it. But our full intent is to have it done by July 1st. That would also potentially, in the initial things that I'm hearing, would increase some local revenue sharing. So that's good news. We also will continue to build the roads fund from its current $2 billion a year to more. And we're going to gradually go up instead of trying to fill it at the back end to get to $3 billion that it really needs. We're not even sure that will do it, but 3 billion is a lot farther ahead than where we were a few years ago, or even last year. Public safety, trust fund will continue to exist, and we should see a small increase in that as well. Let's see, I think that's it. Any questions for me, comments, concerns that you want me to address, on Albion's behalf? Let's see.
I'd like to just continue to offer support for House Bills 4503, 4504.
The historic tax credits, yep.
I will second that.
Yeah, I was part of introduction, so I third that. It seems to be held up, it's made it out of committee, it's not making it to the House floor yet, so I don't think you'll see anything until fall. But at that point, I'll re-push. All the focus is gonna be on the budget, and getting that implemented, in the late part of spring and into the summer, so once we're through that, I think they may be open to taking that up on the floor. And it has Democratic and Republican support, so I think we get it done.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I would like to say, thank you for being here for one, but, we definitely could use help with, affordable housing. I know it's very competitive to them, applying for the tax credits and receiving the tax credits as well. Smaller communities are somewhat neglected in their application processes, so hopefully, we can advocate for more funding.
Yeah.
In that way, also, the CDBG funding, as she mentioned earlier, last year and the year before, they were doing the My Neighborhood program, and it was focused and targeted towards helping homeowners. If we could get some more funding for that type of program, we've helped a lot of people in our local community, seniors, mostly seniors, because they're homeowners, but it went a very long way to help out.
CBDG is typically federal, right? And
community block grants in My Neighborhood or the chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, was it allocated through Michigan?
Yeah.
One of the things that I've tried to put into people's mind is even with the tax credits, there's a limit and a cap. And what I put in people's minds is, there's more than Detroit in the state of Michigan. Bless his pea picking heart, but Dan Gilbert has eaten those up to restore Detroit. While a lot of the rest of the state hasn't had the opportunity. And Dan's done a great job, I'm not bad mouthing. But if we increase those, I want those to be spread across the state in different regions, so that every community has a shot at that, instead of a well-funded oiled machine like Detroit in these situations to do like brownfield transformational projects. So I will continue to push for that and see if we can keep more ears open about spreading that around. Detroit needs it too. One needs it too. Grand Rapids, everybody needs it. So let's spread it around and make taxpayer dollars work for everybody. Appreciate it. You bet. All right.
Well, thank you for being with us. I know it was a long day for you because you started off with us at 5 o'clock probably, doing your town hall.
Yeah. But that's fine. That's part of the job. And
Yeah.
I enjoy connecting with people. I enjoy connecting with, city commissions and city councils and township boards and citizens. So it's my job to represent you, and I'm really happy to be here. So if you have any issues, reach out. All right. Have a great day. Take care.
Anybody else?
Not this time.
Good evening, everyone. Spoke to Sean earlier about the city manager report, and I did forget to mention one thing. Just a reminder, so this Saturday, April 25th is Drug Take Back. So 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Family Fair. I have this twice a year, once in April, once in October. So it's a good time to take back all that unused medication that is in your cupboards or in your car or anywhere they don't need to be. And typically our newest officer always gets to that station. So Officer DeShaney will be there. And so it's also a good time for him to meet everybody and typically get introduced to Dr. Bonner, which is always nice. So just a reminder, Saturday at Family Fair from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. will be a National Drug Take Back.
Thank you.
Yes.
There's a question.
Yes.
You still have a container here.
Yes, absolutely. Good point. We do still have the container here in City Hall downstairs, so we do that often. This one is more backed by the DEA, so once this is, everything's collected, they'll come here and pick it up. But yes, we do absolutely we have Sharps containers in our office on the other side, and we have the red box downstairs that medications can go into as well.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Are we still on the city managers?
No, we're on budgets. We haven't gotten there yet. Would anybody else like to stand in the address council?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, go back Cheryl, and everyone else. I'm Al Smith, 1209 Adams Street, been a while since I darkened your doors. I am the commander of the American Legion here in Albion, Post 55, Patrick Leo Hanlon. The 24th, this Friday, we are having a Veterans Information and Resource Fair. There are flyers all around town, there's some laying here. This is for veterans everywhere. Anybody who can see me, hear me, whatever. It's for veterans, it's for military still serving, it's for spouses of deceased veterans, it's for family of veterans, it's for anybody who has any question about any kind of veteran service. We've got people coming in from the VA, from Congressman Wahlberg's office, from Vets Helping Vets, Volunteers of America, Michigan State Police, the Michigan Veterans Affairs Association. The American Legion will also have a service officer there. VA Battle Creek Hospital, Summit Point Veterans Navigator, and helmets to hard hats, Purpose Care of Michigan, and Zero Day, plus others. Now, what this means is that we can answer, there will be someone in that room who can answer any question that any veteran or family member will have about any kind of service. Services are not only offered by the VA. Every one of these other groups I have mentioned have different types of services to help anywhere from homeless veterans to veterans in need of medication, or if the spouse of a deceased veteran, if she's having car troubles, or if the roof is bad on her house, somebody can help these people. And that's what we're here for, is to make sure that all these veterans and their family members get the help that they deserve and that they fought for, and some of them their spouses gave their lives for. So we're going to be there from 3 to 6 p.m. this Friday, the 24th, at the American Legion Hall. Yes, Albion, you do have an American Legion Hall. We've been in this town since 1919. But 3 to 6 p.m. And if you need a little more incentive, Jesse Gray is catering. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else like to stand in address council? We know movement. The city manager report.
I lost the bet with Councilman Rich in regards to how long this is gonna last.
You were saying credit card.
I guess first and foremost, I do want to ask for input from you in regards to having a study session to discuss city manager goals. And if you would like it to be before a meeting that's already scheduled for May 4th or May 18th, or to have a separate meeting scheduled to have that.
I would think that this would typically be a little bit of a longer discussion than 1 hour. So I don't, at least what we've done in the past has lasted longer than an hour. But I would say a special study session.
All right, so I'll have our office try to identify a date that works with everyone's calendar.
But I think sending it to your polls, because on Mondays I don't have council, like, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
No, you should do it.
And pleased to share with you some updates. You have the city manager report, which is also being shared on the website now. And the water meter installation is almost at 67%. So we're very happy about that. And our DPW management last week attended a training course for public service management through the Michigan Public Services Institute. So we have very highly trained and knowledgeable people on staff, so applause all of them for the work that they're doing and continuing their professional development and training. And on April 8th, we were able to host a seminar for DPW organizations, municipalities from around the state in regards to the de-icing. So this is, we're definitely at the forefront of this new initiative, the cost saving approach to keeping the streets clear. We're very proud of our team and what they're doing and setting an example for the community from how to be cost effective and efficient. The tree removal, Director Kern has met with the arborists at Albion College, and we have had conversations with volunteers and residents, so I'm very happy to say we have about 10 individuals who have indicated their interest in forming the tree committee. So we'll work with them and get them established to just offer insights and suggestions as we move forward with the plan relative to replanting trees as well as where they should be located and how we can remain a tree city, which by the way, we just received the recognition that we are once again recognized by the Arbor USA as a tree city. So congratulations to our community for their efforts. I want to remind everyone on May 2nd is the spring cleanup and Rangers providing the 3 trucks. They'll be at City Hall, Ketchum Field, and Harrisfield. This is not for yard waste or recycling. These are for those other larger items usually. And the household hazardous waste day is May 18th. And that will be from 12 to 5:30 at Ketchum Field. And they can take appliances and electronics back and help know things of that nature. And I saw on social media that a number of people were concerned about the special cleanup only being available at drop-off. But I want to remind residents that they have the opportunity to reach out to Granger, and once a month they will come to your door and pick up your items. So don't forget that is a service that is available to you as a resident. And staff met with S&P to review our water bond rating. So that was due by May 8th, and also you'll notice in your packet the financial report that will now start including for will be the month prior. So we have to have time to do that reconciliation. So it'll be basically a month of time, but you'll start getting those monthly. And the director Clark is here. You should have any questions in regards to the financial documents that are in the packet today. And we will be having a conversation in the coming weeks in regards to the water and sewer rates. We have to take a really quick look at where we are currently in addition to the projects that we have in the pipeline. So those are gonna take some very concentrated conversations about how we can move forward in a healthy way. As you know, we've had a number of repairs, emergency repairs in the last couple of weeks that have been substantial. And we had to find money in order to pay for those. So we don't want to be in that situation. We really need to be more proactive in terms of how we're funding these unfortunately unanticipated repairs. And you have the grant package information in your packet. And let's see, we talked about the assessor already. On the land thing, we received a communication from the Calhoun County Land Bank today in regards to 100 South Superior Street. As you know, they have indicated, although they've been in possession of the property since 2016, they now want to recommend that it be demolished. Working with the EDC and the Brownfield, we were able to have a and Historic Preservation is take a look at that property. I haven't seen the report yet. But they had given, the city until May 5th to respond relative to what our intentions are relative to that property. The communication that we received today from the land bank indicated that if the city were interested in taking possession of the property, we need to let them know essentially now, because their board would be taking action in regards to transferring ownership of the property to the city or one of its entities at their meeting on Thursday. We had not indicated to them that we were interested in taking possession. So you have a copy of my email response. But this is an important historic structure in our community. And there are definitely people who would like to see it preserved. But in all reality, there are also people, including staff members, who are quite concerned in regards to the safety relative to keeping the structure in its current condition there. So we have to exercise due diligence before making any type of decision relative to this particular property, and those are present conversations are.
Any questions for our city manager? Councilmember comments? Last Wednesday, city manager Carol, myself, and Councilmember Jim Stewart were in attendance for the rededication of Family Fair. I don't know if you all had an opportunity to get in there as of recently, but they have invested a lot of money in kind of remodeling and reorganizing and including new items. So it definitely is a fresh look in there. We haven't been there in a while. So we had the opportunity to be a part of that. In school also received a large amount of money from Spartan Nash, which is the company that owns Family Fair. So it was a nice event to attend, just to bring the community together and to celebrate what they have done in our little store.
And I would like to say thank you to city manager and those of you who came to the precinct meeting, community meeting. There were several community members there from across the city. We had city manager and Mrs. Roy, as well as Mallory Avis from transportation to give an update on what is happening for our city in public transportation, and it was well attended. So thank you. And I did send, I sent you Mallory's contact. You should have received it in your text.
Okay. Any other personal? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 9:08 p.m. Thank you all.